If my story can inspire one individual or many to contribute to the science of medicine, my objective is accomplished. I hope some may emulate my life. Dr. Nori Dattatreyudu states that in his prologue, and in fact, without doubt, I'm sure that many have already been inspired. A friend in need is a friend indeed. In January 1972, I entered my postgraduate program in medicine, that is MD, in Osmania University. I did my internship in Gandhi Hospital. Those days, the stipend was about rupees 50, that is less than one US dollar. I stayed at my elder brother Madhura Babu's place at Himayat Nagar, Hyderabad. From there, I used to travel to both college and hospital by city bus. Because of the erratic schedules of city buses, I used to often arrive late. In the hospital, my professor was very strict. He used to start his rounds of the wards by 8 a.m. sharp. If anybody was late, he used to reprimand them by very loudly in front of everybody. Although I used to arrive late quite often, I used to escape his reprimands. Instead, he used to praise my discipline and demeanor in front of everybody. He used to tell other students, "See, you should learn from Dattu. If he is delayed, he sincerely informs me and arrives at the stroke of the promised minute." No sooner would he leave than my classmates were about to pounce upon me in rage. Dr. Kameshwari Devi was our obstetrics and gynecology professor. About 40 to 50 pregnant women were in the obstetrics unit. Every day we were to do blood tests and report the hemoglobin level of each of them. My classmate Sitaram Prasad was lazy and used to frown on this. Who would do that every day, especially early in the morning before clinical rounds? Therefore, he came up with a shortcut method. He used to examine their eyes and tongue and estimate their approximate hemoglobin levels and document them accordingly in the chart. Somehow, Professor Kameshwari Devi grew suspicious about his notations. She wanted to know from me as to what he was doing. But as a gentleman, I could only mumble without answering anything. But she was not to relent. So she asked the patients directly, "Is he drawing blood from you?" Some answered in the affirmative, some in the negative, but certainly they were confused. So he resorted to a new idea. Every day he would draw their blood with a needle and document some approximate values in the chart without properly testing. We were amazed by his innovative methods of trickery. Similarly, we used to resort to several tricks whenever we were assigned any night duty. What I can recollect is that we never used to sleep on the cot meant for us, but only beneath it, so that the nurses on duty could not find us when they required our signatures, so we could sleep soundly without getting disturbed. At the same time, we used to inform somebody to wake us up in case of any emergency. So there was no mishap of any kind. If any nurse nevertheless complained to the professor, we used to tell him, "We went to have tea at that time, sir," and evade any admonition. My intention in narrating these incidents is not to set any wrong examples for this generation, but to depict how at that age everyone indulges in such mischievous behavior. But that does not mean that we had any apathy towards the patients or disrespect for our medical profession. The postgraduate program in medicine, Doctor of Medicine, MD, was a 3-year course. I was keen to do surgery, but unfortunately the Mulki and non-Mulki agitation had gained momentum at that time. Mulk is country or state, Those who belonged to Hyderabad or the former Telangana districts were called mulkis or natives. Others from other districts of combined Andhra Pradesh were called non-mulkis or non-natives. Telangana was a cluster of districts which were under earlier Nizam rule before those who were included in the Union of India after Indian independence. Mulkis were given priority in admissions into surgery, the rest of us were bundled into oncology. At that time, I could not realize that this was a turning point in my life. God willed otherwise, but my first love was surgery. Hence, I tried my best to get admission into a surgery program elsewhere. In fact, I clandestinely went to Delhi to take an entrance exam at Delhi University. Why clandestinely? Because Dr. Professor Krishna Mohan Rao of oncology loved his students, even more so me. Somehow he felt that I would come up well in that department. He resided near my place in Nallakunta. One day, on his way, he inquired of my wife Subhadra, "Where is Dattu?" I haven't seen him at the college, but my wife innocently told him that I went to Delhi to take the entrance exam to obtain admission into surgery. In spite of my sincere attempts, I could not get a seat there either. Locals only dominated there also. Dr. Vasireddy Chandrasekhar Prasad was my classmate while I worked on my MD. He became my close friend. He was from Vadlamudi village of the Guntur district. He did his degree in medicine in Belgaum, Karnataka. Before his joining his MD program, he married into a rich family. His father-in-law, Mr. Parachuri Sivaprasad, owned a film distribution company that used to distribute National Art Theatre films. After living for a few years in Chennai, he moved to Hyderabad. A relative of Chandrasekhar's in-laws was N. Trivikrama Rao. His brother was the late NTR, N.T. Ramarao. The demigod of Telugus and the matinee idol turned politician, the former chief minister of the combined state of Andhra Pradesh. NTR used to frequent their house. Those days I was thrilled to see my favorite hero nearby, but never ever imagined that in the future I would be working with him to accomplish a gargantuan project. I used to go to my friend's house every day and from there together by car to M&J Cancer Institute where we were doing a postgraduate MD training. Both Chandrasekhar and I did not show much interest in the MD program because we did not have much choice in being assigned to that department. So we used to go to Hotel Sarovar near the tank bund and voraciously eat either snacks or meals and contemplate what to do in the future. By the time his brother-in-law, Paruchuri Surendra Prasad, was in the US after completing his medicine degree, Chandrasekhar would receive up-to-date information in the field of medicine from his brother-in-law. One day my friend proposed, "Dattu, the radiology departments in our country are in a very primitive stage. If we want to improve them, we may have to go to the US and work there for some time to learn new things." His words had a deep impact on me and inspired me to study in the US. In those days, to go to the US, it was mandatory for Indian medical students to pass the US ESFMG, Educational Commission for Foreign Medical Graduates exam. But the site to take the exam at that time was at Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I did not have any money for either the fee or for the travel. Somehow, I was very reluctant to ask my brothers who had done their best to take care of my upbringing in education. When I shared the information about the ECFMG exam with my father-in-law, Mr. Tadepalli Srinivas Rao, he said very good, but did not inquire about my finances regarding the exam. But when I shared my predicament with Chandrasekhar, he promised me and assured me, "I'll bear the expenses." I have to share what happened during that time. When Subhadra, my wife, more about her and my marriage with her in the family section, and I was struggling to adjust the finances for me to take the exam, Subhadra's father, my father-in-law, came home. There is an adage in my mother tongue, even one's own mother doesn't serve unless one requests. So I thought if directly requested, my father-in-law might help me. I therefore pushed Subhadra to ask her father to fund my exam expenses. But she was so shy that she could not raise the issue at all. After a brief chat, my father-in-law went away. Upon my compelling her, Subhadra ran after him. By the time he had already crossed 2 or 3 bylanes. Finally, she caught up with him. After listening to the whole story, he gave her some money. Had he a mind too, he could have funded the exam fee and my entire expenses as well. But why he did not do it, I still cannot understand. Anyway, Chandrasekhar and I prepared together for the ECF MG exam. He had a good grip on some subjects. I was strong in some others, so we helped each other in preparation. We went to Kuala Lumpur for the exam via Madras. Coincidentally, our seats were side by side in the same exam hall in spite of authorities rearranging their rows in the examination hall many times. So we were able to attend the exam without any fear. As promised, he bore all my expenses. His father-in-law, Mr. Parusuri Shivaprasad, also liked me and helped both of us a great deal. We got through the exam with flying colors. After the exam, each of us bought a 2-in-1 audio system. When we went to Madras while returning from Malaysia, we also saw the film shooting of my favorite film hero, NTR. By the time we had not yet completed our MD course, but my friend Chandrasekhar discontinued his MD program and left for the US 6 months earlier than I. Unlike him, I was not financially sound. I therefore had decided to go to the US only after my completion of my MD. Now here's the turning point. While working on my MD, I was able to get an assignment as a resident at Radium Institute and Cancer Hospital near Red Hills in Hyderabad. There I witnessed a few blood-curdling scenes. We had a radiation room there. Every day 15 to 20 patients of gynecological cancer lined up on beds were receiving internal radiation while we were attending them, standing amidst them. Standing next to one patient with a radioactive element significantly exposes the professional staff member. Since that is the case, just imagine the level of exposure standing amidst the whole group of patients receiving radiation. In this situation, healthy doctors and nurses used to get exposed to the detrimental effects of radiation. The patients also ran the risk of side effects on the healthy parts of their bodies and suffered endlessly. I was troubled by this primitive technique. During that brief period, I saw firsthand the devastating, devouring effect of cancer. I was determined to change treatment for the better to a modern technique on par with the ones used in advanced countries such as the US. Hyderabad Osmania University conducted an international conference. One group of doctors came from the US to attend it. My professor entrusted me to assist them. I did my best that whole week to be of help to the guests in their work. They enlightened us about the very impact of modern treatment techniques they had been adopting in the US to tackle cancer. The leader of that group was the head of a department at Sloan Kettering Memorial Hospital in America. He was very impressed with my academic caliber and leadership qualities. Before returning, he gave me his business card and told me, "Dr. Nori, if you happen to come to the US, meet me without fail." I never knew that this moment would change my life. What I understood was that the US was miles ahead of us in cancer treatment. This dominated my thought process. I became so determined to learn the modern methods of treatment. Also firmly seated in my mind was a goal that if I studied the American treatment techniques that it would help Indian patients as well. My friend Chandrasekhar's encouragement further boosted this dream. In fact, he also funded my US journey. I set out in June 1976 to the US, leaving my family behind in Hyderabad. My son Satish was hardly 3 months old. I landed in the New York airport with $15 in my pocket. I was granted a green card as soon as I landed there. I went to my cousins Malladi Shastri and Nirmala's place. No hospital was ready to give me a residency or job there as they thought that I was overqualified. "You have already done your MD and you should not stay with us for long," was a routine refrain I encountered. It was very painful. About 45 days passed but to no avail. Somehow I was able to get a temporary assignment in Brooklyn's Long Island College Hospital. I stayed in an apartment provided by them. By God's grace, I then recalled that I had the business card of the professor from Sloan Kettering Memorial Hospital. I took it out and called his phone number. They had had a fellowship, but by that time it was already assigned to somebody from the Philippines. You could have called me as soon as you landed here, Dr. Nori, said the professor. However, he still called me in for an interview. If the candidate to whom that fellowship was already assigned failed to turn up by July 4, they would call me on July 5 and then I should immediately join them. I agreed to the proposition as I was left with no other option. During that period, my mind precariously oscillated like a pendulum between hope and despair. I was very tense and anxious. I prayed to every god. Finally, they called the residence of my cousins. Fortunately, my cousin received the call and contacted me by phone in Brooklyn. I was to report and by that evening join Memorial Sloan Kettering. I was able to complete my work in Brooklyn by 2 p.m. I had only $10 with me. I gathered courage to call a cab to go to Sloan Kettering. The driver told me that it would cost me $10. I had on me an open milk carton and yogurt that I had just bought. He looked at me askance and chided me. I can't allow you to carry milk and yogurt into my cab as I'm afraid that you may spill them. He continued, ridiculing me. Won't you be able to get them in Manhattan? No, my dear friend, I know that everything is available in Manhattan, but if I throw them out here, after paying my last dollar to you, I lamented and explained with all sincerity, I will not have anything to buy anymore. He perhaps felt sorry for me and allowed me to board with a statement of caution. Hold them properly and carefully so that you won't spill them in the vehicle. When my cab journey ended, he dropped me in front of the renowned Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center in New York.